Let us bow for a moment of prayer before we proceed. Father, our Creator, you are the author of all justice. We stand here today in a unified front as a community seeking justice. Your word says to speak for those who are voiceless, to fight for those who have no defense, to fight for themselves. So we come to surround this young man with love and unity from our community, to lift him up in his time of need. We shall be his voice when his voice has been taken away. We shall be his defense when he feels defenseless. We pray and ask you for your power
right now,
and your might and your strength.
Right now.
These very difficult times, you stand with us as we stand with him. In the name of our Creator and Maker, we say thank you.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you.
Let me first say thank you to everyone who came out on behalf of our brother Jesse Valdez. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to the media who traveled a far distance in the hot sun. You know, many of you are on the clock and this is your job, but I believe that it's still incumbent upon us to say thank you very much for being here. My name is Brother Deric Muhammad. I am a community activist. The spelling of my name is D-E-R-I-C-M-U-H-A-M-M-A-D. And I just want to say that I am absolutely outraged at what I saw and what the world is now seeing that happened in Willowbrook Mall to our brother Jesse Valdez. The officer who abused Jesse Valdez was obviously not having a good day. Jesse was riding a Segway through the mall and the officer approached him and told him that he had to get off of the Segway. Jesse began to calmly and respectfully, according to Jesse, explain to him what the Segway was because he thought he had mistaken it for a skateboard or something else. The officer then snatched him off of the Segway, threw him up against the wall, ordered him to the ground at not gunpoint but taser point, handcuffed him, and I believe at that point the video started rolling, so the rest is history and the video speaks for itself. We believe that this is an obvious and evident case of abuse of power, abuse of authority, and abuse of discretion. This young man is a senior at Prairie View A&M University. He is a young entrepreneur who has a moving company called 24-Hour Moving. Jesse's 24-Hour Moving Service. Thank you so much for correcting me. I want to get it right today. And he was bothering no one. He wasn't trying to steal any merchandise. He wasn't trying to assault anyone. But at some point, he himself became the victim of an assault by someone who is supposed to be a quote-unquote peace officer. How is it that you can call yourself a peace officer, but at the same time, you escalate a situation and instead of making the peace, you break the peace? This officer not only put Jesse in a situation where he could have been further hurt, but he put an entire mall filled with shoppers in a situation where something very terrible could have happened.
Valdez, look at how Jesse was treated for riding a Segway through the mall. And you wonder why it is that a segment of the population feels it absolutely necessary to say that Black Lives Matter. We have to say that Black Lives Matter because we don't see white boys, young white men, being treated the way that Jesse was treated. What young white boys do that earns them a slap on the wrist, young men like Jesse Valdez end up spending the night in jail over. So unfortunately, our brother has been charged with a crime that he did not commit. And we're calling on the district attorney to throw those charges in the garbage. It does not make sense for a law-abiding, reputable, educated young man like Jesse Valdez to have a strike on his record that he does not deserve. So again, we're calling on the firing of the officer who assaulted Jesse Valdez. And we're calling on the district attorney to make certain that these charges are dropped. And last but not least, we're telling parents all across the Houston and Tomball area, do not allow your children to come to Willowbrook Mall. It is not safe for them. They can do something in the mall that's perceived by an officer as being not safe and end up in jail overnight. So, thank you, 2 nights. So those are the points that I would like to make, and at this point, before we bring Jesse forward, we want to bring forward his pastor, Pastor E.A. Deckard. Thank you.
Once again, we stand before you during some very unusual and uncomfortable times. I've known this young man since his junior high school days. The parents have all called today from the church. One thing about Jesse, when an adult tells him to do something, he would do it, but like all millennium children, he will ask the question, like your children, like your sons, like your daughters. Before they respond, they will always ask the question, why? And Jesse simply asked the question, why am I being asked off of my Segway when the custom in this mall, and yes, the custom in Willowbrook Mall, you will see children, young adults on Segways throughout the mall. We have surveyed mall employees. They are very confused about why this incident escalated when they see Segway riders all day long in the mall. So we're standing here today to support our young brother, a student at Prairie View A&M University, a business owner, not a criminal, not a thug, not a gangster, but a well-respected young black man making a difference in his world and his community. So therefore, today the community is here to stand with him because he is a part of who we are. What do we want? We want justice.
Yes.
And now I pose this question before we bring Jesse forward. To the mall administration, what would it look like? What would it look like if on the busiest shopping day of the week, on this Saturday, if happenstancely 500 Segway Millennium riders would show up in the mall? Would you arrest them? Would you tase them? Would you lock them up? Or would you look at them and, first of all, judge their skin color before you make a decision? Enough is enough.
Yes.
We will stand for our Jessies in our community. We will stand. We will now hear from this young man who unfortunately has spent the last 2 days of his life behind bars where he did not deserve to be.
How y'all doing? My name is Jesse Jordan Valdez. I'm a senior at Prairie View, and I'm also a self-employed moving. I own a moving business by the name of Jesse's Moving Service. This injustice that happened to me is something that happens all the time, and it's not just you can't say Black lives or Hispanic lives, but I would like to say people who are less fortunate, people who maybe doesn't have the money to fight the cases that are perceived by them. This is one injustice where I just fortunately have my family and my closest people behind me to support me. If they would not be behind me, I would probably still be in bars behind this. This man has abused his power, and to be honest, it hurts me. I'm really hurt by it. I done watched the video over and over when I got out of jail. It brings tears to my eyes. I just can't take it. I'm getting tired of it. It's happened too often to my friends and my family. It's just too much. I can't take it no more. It's really it.
Can you tell us what happened that day?
Yes, ma'am. I was riding on the Segway in the mall. I've actually rode around the mall at least one time before I was approached by an officer. The officer then told me to get off the Segway. In this, I asked the officer, is it a rule? Is it a law that I have to get off the Segway? Is there a rule in the mall? And instead of politely answering my question, the law has what he did was applied force to me and took me off the Segway. You can actually find these videos through the mall. I wish that y'all would look up the mall security cam, because I have done nothing. And the moment it sparked so quick, I never got a chance. I couldn't. There was no chance for me. Either way, they took me behind the bars. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. Why am I going to jail? Everybody's yelling. Why is he going to jail? I'm asking. Why am I being detained? There's no answers. Nobody can answer me. The law is around him, and the security guards have no idea what's going on. They're just stepping up and they're just trying to do their job. But if they have no idea what's going on, how can they help de-escalate the situation?
How did he get you off of the door?
He grabbed me by my arm and took me off the board and put me up against the window and put my hands up against the window of the store right next to me. By force.
And they thought you was on the ground.
By force. Basically, he ended up backing up, and then he ended up pulling his taser on me and basically yelled at me, "Get on the ground! Get on the ground!" And then I got on the ground. Before I got on the ground, I put my hands up. I didn't want to get shot. And then I got on the ground. The officer then proceeded to put my hands into handcuffs. As the officer is putting my hands into handcuffs, he is applying pressure onto my wrist. And I get minor cuts on my wrist from where he is jamming his knee into my wrist and my back. The whole time I'm yelling, "Please, will you please move your leg?" I'm shaking, I'm squirming just to get this man just to change his position so he's not applying pressure on my wrist. The whole.
Was there any thought we talked to the constable on the phone. Why didn't you just get off the board when he asked you the question? The other side of the phone.
He didn't have a chance.
I didn't have a chance before the.
He said that and grabbed him in the same.
The thing is, I have the right to ask, why I have to get off the board. So I asked the man, and I encouraged him to tell me what the rule was.
Is that against the law?
And it's
Is it the video that you guys sent out, that video with the young man asking questions? Was that your brother?
That's my older brother.
He's here. He'll speak as well. Let's not get hit.
Well, let me ask you a question because he didn't get arrested for riding the Segway.
No.
I got arrested for
Supposedly
resisting arrest.
The charge.
The charge was resisting
conduct
arrest.
was why they said they put you up against the glass because you were swearing, they say.
That's
and
not
then
true. That's not true.
Wait, hold 1 second. Man, could you hold 1 second, please? Yeah, we want to keep the press conference.